Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Psych Legal Pop podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about popular culture through the lens of an attorney and a therapist. I'm Brooke Brigham. I'm the attorney.
And I'm Tess Brigham. I'm the therapist.
Today, we are going to be talking about a documentary called Mom Jayne. And this is about the life of Jayne Mansfield, who was a very prolific entertainer.
Mm-hmm.
And her daughter, one of her daughters, she had 5 children in total. One of her daughters is Mariska Hargitay, and of SVU
Yes.
fame, SVU Special Victims Unit, and all of those. So she made this documentary to. It seemed like very personal, like she was
Oh,
looking
yeah.
for answers, and I think
Mm-hmm.
it was a process of finding out because her mother died very young. She was only 34 and Mariska was only 3 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And so she didn't know her. She really doesn't have any memories of her. She only knows what she sees, written about her or what she's heard or um and she just this was a journey for her to learn
Mm-hmm.
more about this woman. And
Mm-hmm.
like I was saying in the beginning, you can really tell that this is painful for her
Yeah.
because she is just really um it's just painful. Like she never got to know this woman, and she almost kind of, it seemed like, didn't really like her very much
Mm-hmm.
based upon what she had seen in the media,
Yes.
the way they
Yes.
portrayed Jane. And as she dug deeper, she realized that she was not really that person at all. She was a
Mm-hmm.
very different person. Jane went through a lot in her life.
Yeah. Well, what
She
did you
really had
think about
quite
it?
a life.
What did you think about it high level? You like it? It sounds like you did.
I did like it. I found it interesting, and it was also painful though because
Mm-hmm.
Mariska, wasn't the only one. Or has 2 older brothers who are a few years older than her, who also lost a mother
Mm-hmm.
very young.
Yeah.
They were, I think, like 6 and 8 when
Yeah.
Jane died, and they got a chance. Well, forget which one of them said this. I think it was the oldest one, Mickey Jr., who said that he doesn't remember his mom very well, but he remembers how she made him feel,
Mm.
and he remembers her essence, and that he felt love from her.
Yeah.
But Mariska kind of doesn't really feel much at all. And then there was a older sister who was born when Jane was only 17.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what is her name? Marie.
Her name's Jane. Her name's
Oh
Jane
yeah,
Marie.
Jane Marie. Jane
Yeah.
Marie. Um, so yeah, so she was a teenage mom.
Yeah.
She
Married very
her
young.
very, very young. The first husband, that wasn't good. That didn't work out. Um, but she had this real desire always to be famous, to
Mm-hmm.
act, to perform, to entertain. She was very accomplished musician. She played
Mm-hmm.
the violin and the piano, and I think the viola. Is that how you
Mm-hmm.
pronounce it? Um, but she always felt like she had to get her foot in the door because she was
Mm-hmm.
a woman, and women who worked in Hollywood at the time, and they were kind of just seen as sex symbols. And
Yeah, you were kind of put in these boxes, right?
mhm,
I mean, so she goes out to LA with Jane, her daughter, and Paul. Paul hates it, the husband. So she
mhm,
stays, he leaves. Obviously, they get divorced. And essentially, it sounds like it sounds like she wasn't struggling for that long. And maybe this is one of her big regrets because it really, the way the story was told, it really felt like she went into this agent's office, she did this Joan of Arc, this monologue from Joan of Arc, and the agent's like, yeah, you're not using your assets, which is basically like you have a banging body, you have
mhm.
big natural boobs, and you've got
Mhm.
a tiny waist and big hips. You look like you've got the body of like Marilyn Monroe. And if we dye your hair, you'll look just like her. And we
Mhm.
manufacture that. And what I do wonder, I could be wrong, which is, maybe that was Jane's downfall. She was very determined. This was her whole thing, was that, her whole thing was like, I had to act like this. I had to be this blonde bombshell ditz dummy in order to get parts, in order to be seen. But the problem was that it pigeonholed her. Like,
Mhm.
it was a double-edged sword. So I do wonder, like, what would have happened if she said, okay, I'll keep struggling? Because,
Yeah.
right, because there was, like, Betty Davis is this kind of person, and this kind, everyone felt was in a category. Dark hair meant you were smart, blonde hair
Yeah.
meant you were dumb, you
Yeah, and
know?
she really wanted to be taken as a serious
Yeah.
actress.
Yeah.
And when it wasn't happening, I think maybe she thought, "Okay, well, this is just temporary.
Mhm.
I'll do this stuff, I'll dye my hair blonde because she is a natural brunette, and people will see my talent, and then they'll cast
Yeah.
me for other
And I can
things."
and I can see a very young person believing that too. I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
blaming her one way or the other, but I think that that was her idea and theory wasn't crazy. It just, unfortunately, she was doing it at a time where today you could do that, but not then.
Mhm. Yeah, and what did they call her? They did They did acknowledge her somewhat, that she was smarter than,
Yes.
the average blonde. They had
Mhm.
some term they used. Can't remember what it was, but she was seen as like the smartest,
Yeah.
pinup girl or whatever you wanna call it.
Yeah,
But,
but her rise was pretty fast though, because it sounds like she
mhm,
got some movies and then she was in this play. She went to New York and got this play, like, Will Success Spoil Rock Hunter? And that put her on the map. And then she came back and she did the movie version, and then tons and tons of movies. I never quite understood why everything started drying up. Like, what happened? Um that
well, was it
she had to pivot. But again, she really wasn't. Again, what's so fascinating about all of this is, like, she died in, what, 1967. She hit it big in 1955. Like, this is like a 12-year period
mhm,
where she rises to fame and has four more kids and
mhm,
marries, two more times, and a lot happens in those 12 years,
yeah.
13 years, whatever it is.
Yeah, well, yeah, and she had a I mean, she did always work. She's was very
Yeah.
prolific, and like she even did Playboy, when
Mhm.
that was not really considered a positive thing to do at all.
Mhm.
And she just, I don't know, she just kept going.
Yeah.
Like she just never stopped working.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it was like a combination of just working, taking anything she could get, and then managing all these relationships, with all of these men.
Mhm.
But, her big love, I guess, if you want, I don't know, maybe not, but, was, Mickey Hargitay, who was a Hungarian bodybuilder
Yes.
who came over to this country, and he was, very attractive. They were a very attractive couple. They had 3 kids together, including Mariska, and, they both were doing well, making money, bought this big house on Sunset Boulevard
Mhm. In
in Los
1956, she was the
Angeles.
most photographed woman at that time.
Wow.
She definitely also had, she was like the first maybe reality star before reality happened. Like, she was a Kardashian. She was a Hilton. Like, I think that was the other thing they were kind of indicating, was that she was also kind of famous for being famous, famous
Mhm.
for being out and about, famous
Right.
for dating these men, famous for this and that, and doing all these photo shoots. Um, she had that kind of larger in life. Can we go back to the Miss Universe, Mr. Universe thing? This is what's so crazy about it, is you look back on that and go, well, that seems very normal and natural for Mr. Universe. versus what we see today, which is because they have all these steroids and all these,
Oh,
right?
you
Like
mean his
back in those
physique?
days, it was like, yeah, you just built up your body the best that you can, and whoever looked the best was good versus kind of what they do today.
Well, I'm sure they had some enhancements, but yeah, nothing um like what, what came later, but
I
I
don't know.
don't
I just
know.
thought like, oh, this is a very normal, right? Like, okay,
Mhm.
this feels more realistic. Got it. Anyway.
Yeah, well,
Um,
even if you look at Arnold Schwarzenegger,
yeah,
and it's funny, they did a TV movie of their life and Arnold Schwarzenegger played
I know. I
Mickey
remember that.
Hargitay and
And
then
who
Lonnie
played?
Anderson
Yes,
was
I
Jane.
remember that now. Because that was kind of the first, that movie, which came out in the 80s, that was sort of the first time I ever really knew who Jane Mansfield was, because the blonde bombshell was Marilyn Monroe. Like
Mhm.
that's, and so she was the icon, and so Jane was like considered sort of a knockoff of her.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, which is weird because I don't think Jane is much prettier and smarter and,
mhm.
like, I don't know how she wasn't able to overtake Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
And also, Jane Mansfield was, linked with JFK and RFK
Oh, she
and a lot.
was? They didn't talk
Yeah.
about this. Oh, interesting. Hmm.
I found this on, Wikipedia. Yeah, see, the what's in this documentary is very specific to Mariska's journey.
Mhm.
A lot was left out, and I'm
Yes.
sure she didn't wanna she didn't even mention the Playboy thing. I found that out online, and there's a lot more. Her life was
Mhm.
even bigger than than this, like, in
Yeah.
terms of I can't believe all the stuff she did in 34 years.
Yeah. Yeah. The woman lived. She lived.
She did live.
Yeah, for sure. So, one of the things that Mariska, what really bothered her, and I guess I think what made her struggle with understanding her mom and accepting her mom was this image that she had and this put upon voice. And I think that it was the voice that bothered Mariska the most. That she
Mhm.
would talk like this and, oh, I don't know, everything's great. So, um, and I think that that was one of Mariska's, right, who was my mom,
Mhm.
because she was, this is such a weird thing where your mother passes away when you're very young, but she's very, very famous, but she's also very young too. And
Mhm.
Mariska talks about this, that she really never like associated herself with her mom or any of that. And then when she started acting, people started writing her and writing her fan mail and then telling her about,
Mhm.
like, hey, I live next door to your mom and dad. I did this, I did that. Like, people wanted to share with her, these are my memories of my mom. And she doesn't say this explicitly, but this was my interpretation, which is that it was almost kind of like she needed to hear, if she needed to hear, how do I say this? Like, she needed to hear about her mom through other people that really, really knew her. And I think then it sounds like then it was like she was able to really start to, or want to get to know her.
Mhm.
Um, Hearing these stories, away from the limelight or away from her father, because again, her father didn't always want to talk about,
Mhm.
all of these things. Um,
Yeah, and
but
she
it's just
goes in.
fascinating.
Yeah, because yeah, she needed to figure out that her mother was a real person
Yes.
apart from this image, that's all she knew was this image. And she goes into this storage unit that has been untouched since 1969.
And that's crazy. So that also makes you think that, and we see it with the interviews with her siblings, they're still
Mhm.
struggling. Just
Yeah,
because
oh, big
just
time.
because Zoltan is 4 years older or 3 years older, he's still struggling, and so is the Mickey Jr., even though they were a little bit older, everyone's struggling
Yeah.
with the
Well,
loss.
Zoltan, because when they first started trying to interview him, he really couldn't speak.
Mhm.
and he was having a hard time, and he got very overwhelmed, and I thought he was just overwhelmed by emotions, but when I was reading more about this, the car accident that killed their
Mhm.
mother, what all 3 those 3 kids, all of Mickey's kids were in the car,
Mhm.
and, they did not die because they were, like, all asleep in the back seat lying down,
Mhm.
because what happened was the car they were in was traveling at night on this road behind a semi truck, and the semi truck suddenly slowed way down because there was a truck coming towards it, one of those mosquito spraying
Mm.
trucks. Anyway, their car literally went under the semi and sheared off the whole top of the
Wow.
car.
Mhm.
And after that accident, they actually passed legislation requiring these they call them underride bars, and they sometimes call it a Mansfield bar.
Mm.
So it's a big bar that goes across the back of the truck so that that can't happen. I mean, you can
Mm.
still hit the back of the truck, but literally this thing just went
Wow.
under it, took the whole top off of it, killed all the adults who were sitting up,
In the
but all
front
the ki
seat.
in the
Yeah.
front seat, and but didn't kill the children because they were asleep, lying
Mhm.
down. So, horrifying. I mean, I got
Well,
off on
they
a
have
tangent there.
forgot the other thing too is when the accident happened, right? The brother was talking
Mhm.
about this, Zoltan was talking about this of like someone's in my face and lights and all of this and they're on their way to the hospital and he says, Where's Maria?" And they're like, "Who's Maria?" They didn't realize that Mariska was underneath the one of the front,
Mhm.
underneath the passenger seat because she was so small. She just rolled into there and was wedged underneath there.
Yeah. Oh, and I know what I was gonna say about Zoltan is that as a result of that accident, he had really severe head trauma
Oh, okay.
and had to have, brain surgery.
Mm,
So I think that might I think th I think he has some trouble communicating,
yeah.
is what my point was, but he was really but the other Mickey Jr., the oldest one, he was
Yeah.
very, emotional about it too, and it's like they can barely talk about it or speak
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. It's very,
And
very
then
painful.
even crazier is that Jane, when she was 3, lost her father in
Hmm.
a car accident. I think she was in the car, like,
Yes, she
yeah,
was.
he had a heart attack while driving and crashed the car and died.
Hmm.
So, I mean, this is like generational trauma,
Yes.
extreme generational
Yes.
trauma.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, God, that's so crazy. So we see also, but sorry to go back. We see
Mhm.
also that yeah, I was like 1969 and not one person in this family. There's a lot of people in this family. She had 5 kids.
Mhm.
Not one of you wanted to open this. And I think that's the other part of it too. It sounds like that maybe Mariska kind of got to a point where she was like, you know what, nobody's going to open this door if I don't open it. Like if I
Mhm.
don't start doing these things, like my brothers don't seem to want to, and they seem to be maybe because they had knew her a bit more, they seem to be much more settled. Um, in these things, the oldest daughter spent the most time with her and got to know her
Mhm.
the most, so maybe she has different feelings about it. But anyway, it's that feeling of like this, if I don't start talking about this will never come out.
Mhm.
um and yeah, it's almost like you're back there with them. It's very, very painful. The whole thing is
Yeah.
very painful. But we see her, so she's her parts, she marries Mickey in 1958. They have this very up and down marriage. Mickey to me always seemed very steady. So I don't know what the highs and lows were, but I think that it struggled a lot because I think her career started to, right? She wasn't the sensation that she was. I think that
Mhm.
she wasn't getting the parts that she wanted. We see her do this one very serious monologue in a movie that was very good, but it doesn't sound like she was able to do more of that.
Mhm.
And I also wonder if during this time, if she was so focused on her career and um was maybe out and about a lot. And maybe that was some of the stuff with Mickey, because it was interesting. Like her third husband was a film director. It seemed like she kind of started attaching herself to people that could
Mhm.
possibly help her career much more than people
Yeah.
that she loved. That's all.
Hmm.
That's what it seemed like to me.
Yeah. Although, yeah, I that's why I think Mickey really was, like, the great love of her life, but these
Hmm.
other people, yeah, she was sorta looking to see, like, who could help her, but yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, she was all over the place, she was doing the USO tours with Bob Hope, and she was going on all these late night talk shows or these variety shows,
Yeah.
and, like, I couldn't believe I didn't even recognize Merv Griffin?
Yeah. It was Merv Griffin. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't recognize him at all.
Um, yeah, and she's trying to show them, "I'm serious. Look, I know how to play the violin."
Hmm.
And they're just like, "We don't give a fuck." Like,
Well, we see her playing an entire piece on the Ed Sullivan Show, which was
yeah.
amazing. And then we
Mhm.
see her playing the violin again for Jack Parr. And she's like, well, just give me a minute. And she starts to play, and she's maybe 20 seconds in. And people, and you could feel like the audience was shifting. You could feel
Mhm.
like people are like, oh, wait a second, she's good. And Jack Parr, and it was like, you egotistical piece of shit. The tension was off you for a second. You
Mhm.
didn't like where this is going, so he makes this joke of saying, "Stop playing, kiss me," and
Yeah.
basically derails her. And that's kind of how it it was. And this is where this question comes in, which is, could she have done it in another way? She came to LA when she was 21 years old. She's had a kid. Like, you know, could she have ever made it in a different way? Was this exactly what I was saying? Was like,
Mhm.
if she had held out a little bit longer, if she had, didn't dye her hair, didn't do these things that
Mhm.
people wanted her to do, would it be would it be different? But I also think that that's that other thing too, which is, um well, I don't know, they had plastic surgery back then, right? Yeah, because Marilyn Monroe had a nose
Yeah.
job.
It wasn't as common or.
Because that's the other thing is that, right, these very hourglass shaped women, there was a
Mhm.
time in which that had to be how you were born,
Right.
you know, versus what you can do today.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I don't think they were doing that kinda stuff. They weren't doing, like, liposuction. I mean, they were probably doing facelifts, but yeah, no,
so
she had I don't know. I think it was just a combination of people saw her and saw this, "Oh, okay," like you said, "This is the box you can fit into, you just need to
mhm,
dye your hair."
yeah,
And then her thinking, "Okay, well, this is just temporary, and
yeah.
I'll just go along with it for now." But, yeah, like, there's this famous picture of her sitting next to
Sophia
is it
Loren.
Art Sophia Loren, yeah. And Sophia Loren is just looking at her like she's a piece of trash.
Yeah.
But, like, Sophia Loren, maybe she should have gone the Sophia Loren route with this, the
Yeah,
natural dark hair. 'Cause it's true, like, back then, especially, it was like blondes were dumb and
mhm,
brunettes were, like, the smart ones,
and the
the
ones you
serious
marry.
ones.
The blondes are who
Yeah.
you have an affair with, and the brunettes are who you marry. They're the good girls and the bad
Mhm.
girls, and all of those things. Yeah, it was a very famous that photo, which is everywhere, was also like she's looking at her chest. Sophia Loren
Mhm.
is looking, and because she's wearing this very low cut dress, and kind of you
Mhm.
can see everything, and Sophia is wearing a more, sort of moderate dress. Um,
Mhm.
and then there was a man in there too, but it's really the two women that you see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, again, I don't blame Jane for what she did. I'm just saying that I think that's one of the things about, and maybe all in all industries, which is so much of it is who's in your corner. Like, who do
Mhm.
you meet first? Do you meet the agent that has good intentions, or do you meet the agent that doesn't have good intentions? And I think that part is really hard, is some people, um, meet the right person at the right time that really
Mhm.
champions them and helps them. And then other times you have these situations like with Jane. And I think that, like, we saw her, really struggling, but because when her career started to, wasn't she wasn't getting the gigs, people weren't taking her seriously. Apparently, she started drinking, and she started drinking a
Mhm.
lot, and she started
Yeah.
taking pills, and
Mhm.
she was kind of out of it a lot, and she was really struggling, and um, that was the thing, was that it really felt like she obviously loved these men, she loved her children, but I think she really defined herself by her career.
Yeah.
And I think that was very painful for her. And I think that's when she started, just the choices that she was making, it felt like she was going off the rails a little bit, trying to figure out how to get it rolling again.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so then,
So
yeah,
oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so she and Mickey break up, and this
Mhm.
is the part that's a little unclear of, did they ever officially divorce and then get back together? Because, and we'll explain all of this later, but like, basically we hear about their fighting, they get divorced, they split up, and then we see this interview with Jayne saying, well, we're back together now and we're going to have a baby, which is Mariska. And
Mhm.
so it's a little unclear of like, were they officially separated or not? Did they ever officially get divorced then or not? What happened? But they had some time apart. And then they eventually, after I think Mariska was maybe a year or two, and that's when they finally called it quits. And then she went right into this other relationship with this guy, Matt Simber, who was Italian. Um, and that's what the older boys were talking about. Like, now we're Italian and this guy's in our house. And apparently they fought all the time, and he was a physically abusive to Jayne,
Mhm.
but he was a director, and she
Mm.
thought he could do something for her career. And they do. They have a child together, Tony, who we meet in the documentary. He
But
seemed very
Tony never
familiar to
re
me.
I don't think Tony ever lives with Jane. I
So yeah,
think
that's
that
what you found out. They didn't talk about this in the movie, but
yeah, he went, let's see. I think he went and lived with his father.
mhm,
Um, yeah, 'cause this is the when she was really heavy in the alcohol and
yeah.
pills,
Well, and she was
so
trapped. I mean, again, I think she also, what was probably frustrating for her was she was kind of trapped in this cycle, right? Which is, at this point she had to do the nightclub circuit, which she had like an
mhm.
act, and she would not maybe like sing a song and be sexy and all this kind of stuff. Kind of like Countess Luann's
The
cabaret act.
cabaret.
Yes. I'm sure it was something like that. So she had to do that, but that's like, you, being on the road and nightclubs, that will only make you drink more and pop more pills. So I think
Mhm.
she was in this really tough spot. And I guess she and Matt divorced very quickly. Like, that was a horrible relationship and that ended. But but it sounds like Jayne didn't feel like she could miss a beat, because she just kind of kept going. She kept rolling along.
Yeah, well, going back to when Mariska was born,
Mhm.
um, so, like, she had had a few affairs, and like you said, they were going through a divorce. What I read was that they had gone to Mexico and they were trying to get a divorce. They were granted a divorce in Mexico, but it hadn't been recognized yet by California.
Mm.
So they just pulled it, and so, it never became official. And basically in October 1963, she announced her pregnancy and, saying, "Oh yeah, we're back together and having this baby."
Mhm.
And then Mariska commented, well, Mickey, remember all those pictures where she had cut Mickey out of all the
Yes.
pictures? That's a little immature. There's all these family photos, and Jane went through and cut Mickey's, face out of all
A
of them.
lot of people, anybody. She cut out
Anyone
she
who
she cut
wronged
out more
her,
than
yeah,
Mickey. Anybody that did her any wrong, she was like cutting you right out of that photo.
yeah. So, like Mariska was saying that, there's really no photos of Jane holding her. And
Mm.
so there was never any kind of a attachment. Um, and then there was this weird thing about how they called her Maria Magdalena, but on her birth certificate, her name was Mariska. I don't know what was
Well,
going
I
on with
think
that.
that one of the arguments that she and Mickey had were about raising the kids. And I
Mhm.
think this name thing was one of them because she wanted her to be Marie, which is her middle name, I believe, or mother's middle name. Because I think her mom's Vera Marie, or yeah,
You mean oh.
Jane's mom.
But Jane Marie is the sister, so she
Yeah,
would
I know, but the is Jane
oh,
Marie, but I
Jane's
think they wanted to
mother.
yeah, anyway, Mariska obviously is a very, I guess, a Hungarian name, which
Mhm.
I think
Right.
is what Mickey wanted, and I think that,
Right.
um, Jane wanted Marie, and that's
Mm.
another thing that's very bizarre too, is here you're a kid and your parents can't agree on what to call you.
Right, some people are calling you Maria, some people are calling you Mariska. That's
Yeah,
yeah.
and that's bizarre too. I mean, and that's confusing. That's confusing for someone,
Mhm.
right? Like, who
Yeah,
am
because
I?
when they came on the Merv was that when they went
Yeah,
on
it
the
was the
Merv Griffin
Griffin show,
show
yeah.
with all the kids and he's like, "And what's your name?" And she kinda had to think about it for a minute. And she's like, Maria?"
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was yeah. So, she never felt that close, and then she felt this obviously, she and her father were very, very close, but it sounds like she always I get the sense is that she kind of felt like, "I don't belong. I don't fit in,
Mhm.
I don't belong." And one thing was that after Jane passed away, in the summers, essentially once Jane passed away, what happened was that I think the oldest sister was an adult, and kind
Mhm.
of went off in her life. The three children with Mickey stayed in that house with Mickey and Mickey raised them. And then baby Tony went with dad, was always
You're
with
right.
dad.
Right.
And so the summer would come around and the two older boys would go with Mickey and the family to Hungary to visit relatives. And he would have her stay with her grandmother, like, and Mariska could never quite understand why. Why am I being singled out? Why can't I
Mm.
go? And I always thought that was odd too. Like, what were you? Because you know where because Mickey was a little all over the place with this stuff, right? I mean, I don't know. It's
Well,
it
I
was
think he
interesting because
knew
he anyway. Sorry.
oh, well, I was just gonna say, I think okay, when you look at those kids, the 2 boys, um, they were their coloring was completely different
Hmm.
because we find out, later that Mariska's biological father is this Brazilian man,
Italian.
and no, he's Brazilian.
He's Brazilian. I thought he was Italian.
I don't think so, that's what I wrote.
Hold on.
Let's see.
I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure he's
he's from
Italian.
he's from Brazil.
Okay. All right. I'm wrong.
'Cause look how I mean, he's very dark, yeah, no, he's
Okay.
Brazilian. Yeah, so Mariska had, like, the dark hair and the kind of, like, olive skin, and
Hmm.
those boys, they were, like, blonde.
Yeah.
Blonde hair, fair skin. Um, I don't know. Maybe he knew that, like, if he took her to see his family, they were gonna be like, "What is this?" Like
Yeah. Maybe. Maybe.
but I mean, he definitely loved her and she loved him,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
and it was devastating to her to find out.
Yeah. So we
And she
basically.
said something oh, sorry. I heard her say I can't remember if this was in the documentary or some interview that I saw her do, but she said when she went to finally meet her biological father, um, he or maybe she called him first or something, and he said, "I've been waiting for this phone call for, however many
Yeah.
years."
30
So
years.
he knew. Yeah, he knew. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, yeah, she first so her mom passes away. She believes Mickey's her father this whole time, but something feels
Mhm.
off. Something never has felt right. And one of the things that Mickey said to her was, "Don't read any books. Don't read anything about your mom. That's all lies."
Mhm.
For fear of, I think, for finding out about what
Yeah.
the truth was. And And so when she was 25, I thought this was so weird. She went to the party. She went to a party of one of the Jayne Mansfield's club, like the club president
Yeah,
is
fan
throwing
club or something.
fan club is throwing a party, and um he says, "Oh, do you want to see a picture of Nelson?" And she's like, "Well, who's Nelson?" And this guy was like, "Oh my God," realized that he
Mhm.
just let this cat out of the bag. And she sees a picture of him and she kind of gets this sense of like, "Oh crap." And then she runs to her father, and I think again this is one of those things where, you know, was it right, was it wrong, I don't know. But she runs to her father and says, "What's going on? Is this man Nelson my father?" And he says, "No, you are my daughter." He never really answers her. He basically
Mhm.
said, "You are my child. You don't need to worry about this. You are my child." And I think that I really do feel like Mickey was thinking that I do see her as my child, like, very much so.
Mhm.
She is my child, and that
Mhm.
she does not need to know, like, I am her father, so this is not
Mhm.
an issue. Not really quite grasping or understanding how Mariska felt inside. And I
Mhm.
think that's the part that is, I think she's trying to reconcile with her father. Like, she spent a long time protecting him,
Mhm.
wanting the world to know that he was her father and protecting him and protecting this image. But And I think she felt like, "Oh, that's the best way to honor this man, but am I really honoring myself and how I
Mhm.
really feel inside?" Because Mickey doesn't know what this is like to not know who your parents are, not know who your father
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, and this is a different time too,
Yeah.
people a lot of this kind of stuff happened and, um, yeah, and he I can't remember what year he died, but
Oh, I
also
wrote it down. He died in I wanna say 89. No, sorry, he died in 2006.
oh, okay. Yeah, and so he remarried, and the stepmom seemed like a nice
Yeah, I think they all got
person.
along. She seemed very
Yeah,
nice. Um,
she cared.
and I think she was essentially their mother, basically, I mean,
Oh, yeah,
yeah, because she was
the
taking
little kids.
because they got married. So I guess they had been dating already before Jane died, but Jane died
Mhm.
June of 1967, and then they got married in April of 68. And,
Mhm.
my guess is they moved that along so that she could come in and help him, and,
Mhm.
but yeah, she seemed and but she seemed to have some feelings about it. Like, she didn't agree with Mickey about how he was handling the situation,
Mhm.
um, but she kinda felt like, this isn't my story to tell. I can't do that." So then I guess she was 30 years old and she saw that Nelson was playing in Atlantic City, and that's when she went to see him, and that was when he's like, "I've been waiting 30 years for this."
Mhm.
And we hear what the real story was, which she and Mickey were off, not together. They're in Europe. They meet, they're both touring, they're both doing their tours,
Mhm.
performing and through Europe, and they, see each other, and that was it. Like, they met each other at a club. They have this whirlwind romance. They did a movie together, and she finds out that she's pregnant, and she's in this situation where she's like, "I'm in love with these two men. What do I do?" And I have been pregnant with all of this kind of stuff. And so then Jane says, and I'm sure she said this maybe casually or just kind of fishing a little bit, but she says to Nelson, she says, "Well, if I went off and got pregnant by another man, would you take me back?" And that really pissed off Nelson, which is understandable because I think
Yeah,
he kind of felt like, "What are you trying to tell me, that you're going back to
right.
Mickey? Like, hello, what's going on?" So he had this very big reaction, which is, "Get out of my sight, like, go back, you go back to the US, I will never speak to you again," and he obviously regrets
Mhm.
that. And again, I certainly didn't think I think he thought he would speak to her again, not really knowing that 3 years later she would be dead.
Yeah.
And that is one of the things about when you make these big declarations with people, or when you say, "I'm cutting you out of my life," like, or if you think there's more time, there really isn't. I mean, it's a mistake that a lot of us make, is we think we have time, and sometimes we do, but sometimes we don't.
Mhm.
So don't always assume.
Yeah, and it's
Right.
just that's just sad. It's so sad that,
Yeah.
like, these adults are making these impulsive decisions, and you just feel the whole time you're just feeling so sorry for Mariska, like,
Yeah.
she's just got all caught up in this, and she's the victim of all of this, and, she's 60 years old, and it's
Yeah.
taken her, like, all this time in her life to
Yeah.
even be able to have the strength to look at it and try to
Yeah.
unravel it, and so, I mean, it's
Well, it's
quite something.
it is. It is. And I think that what was so interesting is Mariska Hargitay, when she sort of started to come on the scene, I remember she was on ER very early on. She played a character that no one really liked. I felt bad for her. But and then
Mhm,
she got on SVU, and that's really what she's been doing for the last 25 years.
mhm.
But what's interesting about her is if you look at her and the characters that she's played, it's the polar opposite of her mother,
Yeah,
right? She's always had the dark hair, dark eyes. She plays these very strong, very smart, tough,
serious, yeah.
serious women. And I don't think that I don't think that's just random by any means. So
Yeah,
just
and she talks about how she felt like her mother, through all of these bad decisions, just left her kind of alone and untethered.
mhm,
And, her grandmother made some comment to her about how, like, "I'm all you have," you know, probably one of those summers when, she had to go
yeah,
to grandma's house and she couldn't even go be with the family. I mean, yeah, she was totally just kind of out there on her own.
yeah. Yeah, again, I just wanna say, like, again, I think that this would be so different if Jane hadn't passed away so young and so suddenly. And I think that's the part that really, right? Like, I think in some ways, maybe that was the moment in which you needed to be honest with Jane. I mean, you need to be honest with Mariska, or she was 3, but like as time
Mhm.
goes on, maybe you need to shift this a little bit.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, again, I think all these people felt really unsure of what to do. And I give Nelson a lot of credit because I think that Nelson really was like, I think he felt a lot of guilt for making that decision of
Mhm.
telling her to leave. I think that he kind of felt like, I can't, if I show up, I'm gonna ruin, I don't want to ruin this kid's
Yeah.
life. And I
Right.
really got that from him. I really like Nelson. This when she reunites with this is I think I cried 3 or 4 times during this documentary.
Oh.
But this ending part with him was really it's very painful because he's 89 years old and he's finally kind of like getting to make these amends, of and the pain that it sounds like she's known about this man obviously for 30 years. She has 2 sisters because
Mhm.
Nelson has 2 children from his marriage, and they all had to hide and pretend like that they weren't related because Mariska was so worried about the world finding out that Mickey wasn't her father.
Mhm. Yeah.
So,
God. That's
yeah. So,
yeah.
she talks a lot about this reclaiming her own story, very similar to Monica Lewinsky, who's over on her podcast, Reclaiming.
It's
But it is
reclaiming.
true. I mean, there is something about that, like when you give something enough time and awareness to take 4 or 5 steps back and then really figure out, okay, what is, this is that person's truth, this is that person's truth, what's my truth? And I think that's pretty much what I got from this is like this is Mariska saying, this is my truth. This is the truth of my life.
Mhm.
This is the truth of my mom. And this is my truth of who I am based on all of that.
Well, and, we forgot to mention, the press secretary.
Oh God, this guy.
Jane's press secretary,
Oh yeah, yeah. Who's very
who
all about love and with the
well,
rainbow
yeah,
flag.
he had a message to
Rusty,
send.
Rusty.
Rusty, he had his rainbow love hat and tumbler
Yes.
with him, so I guess he's a part of the that community. He really wanted to make it clear.
Yes.
Um, but I guess he wrote about this thing with
Yeah.
Nelson in his book. I don't know how
Yes.
many people read his book or when that came out. But
Mhm.
yeah, that was really shitty. Like you said, that wasn't his story to tell,
Yeah.
you
Well, and
know?
And Mariska kind of confronts him and says, "Well,
Mhm.
how do you, how do you, did you really feel like that was your right?" And the Rusty's kind of, he's 99 here and he's trying to defend himself and his, and I think he felt like, well, that was my shared, that was my relationship with her. That was my, so yes, I feel like I have the right. But I think until she said something to him, I don't think he'd ever thought about it.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
guess
get the
no one
sense that
ever
he, for one
confronted him.
iota, for one moment, thought, "Oh, wait a second, how will this affect you if I reveal this
Right.
story?" But it also makes sense why Mickey was like, "Don't read any books.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah,
investigate
'cause
anything."
people were out there talking about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
then
I
how
think
embarrassing for you as Mariska, like knowing this. I think that's the part that
yeah.
she's like, you all knew this and you just all held on to it,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
that's hard.
she said I think this is her who said this, "Sometimes keeping a secret doesn't honor anyone."
Mhm.
I'm not sure who said that, but that's kind of it in a
Yeah.
nutshell. Like, this big secret, like, hurt a lot of people, and going all the way back to her mother, my god, what I mean, obviously, she created this situation.
Mhm.
That's just really
Yeah, I
unfair.
mean, Jane's not completely innocent in all of this. Like after she
Oh,
divorces
no.
Matt, she takes up with
She
her
gets with
divorce
that lawyer
attorney.
guy,
And
yeah.
he died in the crash as well because he was in the car,
Mhm.
Sam Brody. But apparently he was abusive and
Yeah,
awful and terrible to her.
yeah.
And again, I was like, did you think he was going to help you with your career? Like, what did you think? But it seemed very clear that Jane did not wanna be alone. Like, Jane really
Mhm.
went from man to man to man to man to man, she really did not spend many years by herself. The only time we ever hear her by herself is from when she was in LA focusing on her career to the time that she met Mickey,
Mhm.
right? I'm sure she was dating people and seeing people,
Mhm.
but, like, that was this only pocket of time, and that was, like, a year or 2,
Yeah, I mean, she was married at 17 or
and essentially on and off married most of her life, so, yeah, I mean, I think it's this question of this idea of secrets, right? Like to honor Mickey, um, how much did she how did the ripple effect of that what was the ripple effect of that? Because by her honoring Mickey and not wanting to say any of these things publicly, it made Nelson have to keep the secret, it made the sisters and
mhm.
everyone in this family have to keep a secret.
Mhm.
All of these people were keeping the secret all to all to protect this person who is he really the person that we should be protecting?
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? And that's the part that's hard is I think sometimes adults think that they're protecting kids when in actuality you're protecting yourself.
Yeah.
Because I think Mickey and I don't again, I think you can look at it a lot of different ways. I think Mickey very much felt like in a very black and white way, she's my daughter, she doesn't need to know anything else. That's just how it
Mhm.
is. But, or were you also kind of protecting your ego?
Protecting yourself, yeah.
Protecting yourself, protecting how people might see you or view you, or maybe, oh, she had an affair with a man and you raised her kid,
Right.
like whatever the judgments were that people would think.
Right. Yeah, and like, Grandma Vera, she wanted Nelson to claim
Yeah.
Mariska, and that's when he said, "No, this little girl just lost her mother, and this is the only family she knows. We can't take that from her."
Yeah.
So that I think was a more pure contention than maybe what Mickey was doing. But people, God, these messy things, they have always happened in families and people
Mhm.
keeping secrets. And now, look at all the stuff that's coming out with these, DNA tests and
Oh,
all this
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
stuff. And it's just, it can really mess with people.
Yeah.
Really, really mess with people.
Because, I mean, listen, I know who my parents are. I know who my
At
parents
least we
are.
think so.
Yeah, please. These people are our parents. We look a lot like them and all of those other and we have photo proof elements. Um, but I don't know what that feeling is, and I think that's important too, is I think that, you know, when exactly what Mariska's saying, her whole life kind of feeling a little off. And you hear this from people too that eventually find out that they were adopted. like
Mhm.
always feeling a little like
Mhm.
this is a little off. This isn't right. And yeah, it's always fascinating to me how someone dies, especially if they die unexpectedly and early, how everyone feels like they have to protect that person, protect and kind of like shellac
Mhm.
them in
Mhm.
time of we can never say anything bad about them. And that's one of the things about the dead, right? Is we feel guilty criticizing them. We feel guilty, or we feel like, well, is that, they're gone now. Is that really my place to be mad at them or angry? And
Mhm.
it's like, yeah, it is. When someone dies, their life isn't perfect and they walk away. I mean, people die at different times and it's always messy.
Yeah. Well, in a weird twist of Hollywood, fate, Jane and Mickey's house is purchased by Engelbert Humperdinck.
See, there are some people that God, we heard that name.
Oh, yeah, and you have to be of a certain age to even,
Yeah.
to even know who that is.
What was his big hit?
I don't even know. I
I
mean,
just know it's that name. Where was he from?
I don't know.
Okay.
Should we
The
Google
name.
it?
I just know he was like a singer performer and he had the weirdest name. And this was in the 70s,
Oh, and I think it was before then. Let's see.
60s, 70s.
Engelbert Humperdinck. Oh, he's a
Hmm.
British singer, 19th century German composer.
Hmm.
He was born in 1936. So it was the 60s when he
Okay.
was cranking out the hits,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
yeah. I mean, once you hear that name, you never forget it.
Yeah. So he was a big deal.
Yeah,
But I
so he
guess when they passed away, he bought her mother's piano with the house, or it
yeah,
came with the house?
the piano came with the house apparently. This house, they had a heart-shaped swimming pool and it
Mhm.
said, "I love you, Janie," and there was this big white piano that had like these kind of cherub cupidy type characters painted
Yeah.
on it and custom made and whatever. And she knew that Engelbert had this. Well, he ended up tearing down the house, but I guess he still had the piano, and they somehow got in touch with her, and
Yeah.
her husband was helping. But he got that piano
Oh,
back
yeah.
for her.
Yeah,
And
which is
the way
very
they had to
nice.
lift it into this, they live in this New York City apartment.
Yeah.
This crane is like lifting the piano up into the apartment. It was quite something.
Yeah.
But
Yes,
so that
yes,
was
so
a
she
little bit
got
of
the
a happy
piano
ending.
back, and so now
Yeah.
she has this little piece of her mother that she didn't think.
Yeah. Well, and
One
she
of
found when they were going through the storage unit, she found a Golden Globe. Jane, she
Yes.
won a Golden Globe. She won some other like award too. I don't know what it was, Critics' Choice Award or something. But I guess Mariska also has a Golden Globe, so
Yes. So
she
the
took that with her.
yeah. And, I was just gonna say that one of the other things when you're talking about the heart-shaped pool, that they had a bunch of animals. Like, it was like a
Mm.
zoo, and
Mhm.
before Joe
Tiger
Exotic,
King.
Tiger King, there were these people. And they are so lucky because they had ocelots and they had all these animals and all these little kids running around. You're lucky that one of those tigers didn't go tiger.
Yeah.
And because they're tigers, I mean, things happen. So
Well,
they're very lucky nothing happened with any of those kids.
yeah. Well, there was a like one of those lion country safari type places in Southern California. Was called Jungle USA or something. Anyway, I think maybe this is how Zoltan got the head injury. She took the kids there, and Zoltan was attacked by a lion,
Oh my God.
and it bit him in the neck or something. Anyway, and then the creepy, the lawyer that she was dating,
Oh, Brody.
forget
Sam
his name.
Brody?
Yeah, he sued the
Oh,
amusement park, and, got what in today's dollars would be equivalent to like $15 million, and the place went
15?
out of yeah, the place went out of business.
Oh my god. And who got the money though? That should have been Zoltan's money.
I don't know. I don't know if it ever got put in trust for him or what the lawyer probably took most of it.
Yeah, he just
But
really he absconded with it cuz that was the other thing too was that she was broke or something. It seemed like she was
yeah,
broke when she died because
that's why they had to sell everything.
she didn't have that because she didn't have a will, obviously, she was 34, she didn't have a will, and they had to take everything to sell back all of her creditors.
Mhm.
So, but it's like, well, where's that $15 million? I mean, yeah, I guess that lawyer must have went with his family. He really must have absconded with that money because he obviously didn't share it with Jayne.
Yeah, well, I mean, she had quite a lot of expenses. I don't know how far that yeah, he probably took half of it, and then the other half she probably had to live off of it, and
Mhm. But she
yeah.
was working nonstop. I mean, she had a big life, but I don't
Yeah,
know, maybe
but
the
she
gigs weren't
wasn't
paying
like
as much as as much as it seemed. I
yeah,
don't know.
I mean, she wasn't getting top dollar, I don't think.
Yeah.
But
So,
anyway, it's like it's but I got the sense because the final kind of message that Mariska gives, she says she spent most of her life being ashamed of her mother, a
mm,
person that she didn't remember, a person whose voice I didn't even want to hear, a person whose career um, she wanted to do differently. So hopefully she feels better. She's in a better
mhm.
place with
Well,
it now.
one thing I've always wondered about with Mariska is why she's decided to stay on SVU so long. It is very rare for people to stay this long on a show.
Mhm.
I am sure she because what happens is it doesn't take long for when a show becomes a hit, people want to get off
Mhm.
because they want to start making movies, they want their own TV shows, they want to do their own thing. And she's obviously the star of this show, but everybody else has left. Like everybody, Christopher Maloney has left and come back, and all these other people, they come and they go. But it's interesting. She's got this real kind of like Hollywood workhorse, like you don't leave a
Mhm.
successful series, kind of because that's a saying. Like if your series is a hit, you're stupid for leaving it. Like
Yeah.
you never leave anything that's successful. You ride that out until you can't anymore. But maybe it's interesting because I just think it's interesting juxtaposition of her mom and her mom's career and how she got pigeonholed. Like, you know, don't you feel a little pigeonholed now? Like this is, but
Mhm.
again, maybe I also think that we see her with, she has 3 kids.
Mhm.
One is adopted. And my guess would be that she probably wanted to have a life where she could live in New York and raise her kids.
Yeah, I
And
think
this
it has to
allowed her to
do
do that, so
yeah, I'm sure she makes a ton of money,
oh, yeah.
they crank those episodes out. It's just yeah, and then she can go home. She doesn't have to be traveling, she doesn't wanna live in LA, clearly.
Mhm.
She wants to be there, and it just works for her. And
Yeah, that's also interesting too, that she grew up in LA, that was her life, and
mhm,
that she just, when she's been in New York this whole time, so
mhm. Has she ever been in a movie?
I
I
mean,
can't think of any.
I'm sure she has, but I don't know. I mean, it's a good life. It's if you can get on a series like that as an actor, and people just
Mhm,
get bored. They get bored of doing it. It's very rote. People come along and throw things at you, and it's easy to get stars in your eyes. But maybe she just kind of felt like, I mean, she's the one that's been working. Her husband's an actor as well, Peter Herman, who we've seen
mhm.
on Sex. We saw him in Just Like That and Younger. So he doesn't work as steadily. He doesn't work like the way she does. So maybe she felt like she had to.
Yeah, she's been on since 1999, making her the longest running character in American primetime drama
Wow.
history. Jeez.
Yeah,
But
26 years. That's a
oh,
long
wow,
time
my god.
to be doing the same
Um,
thing.
yeah, she's done a few before she got this gig, she had a few small parts. Yeah, on ER and,
Mhm. But that's very different than her own mother, right? I mean, Jane was
mhm,
gonna I mean, I think she had to, but Jane was gonna work. She was gonna work no matter
yeah.
what. and she was going to keep pushing and doing the things that she wanted. And it seems like Mariska's like, you know what, I just want to be a working actor, and that's good enough for me. So,
Yeah.
and I
Oh,
guess, yeah, sorry.
she was Miss Beverly Hills, and she
Oh,
competed in the Miss California USA pageant and placed 4th.
nice.
4th
Okay.
runner-up. Okay. Yeah, she's had a few TV shows, but yeah, she's
Yeah.
got a good gig there.
Yes.
So
So,
her husband did her husband who did her husband play? And just like that, was it the
well, remember the guy that she runs into? Like
oh,
he's
on
a
the bike?
bike path. He
Uh-huh.
was also in Sex in the City, actually. Here's some deep cut. He had a very, very brief scene with Charlotte. He played one of the Jewish, like she went to that Jewish
Oh
singles
yeah.
mixer and he was
Where
the hot
she's
one.
yeah.
Yeah. But did you ever watch the show Younger?
Yeah.
It's a good show. And so he's in that, I
Mhm.
mean, he's very cute. Um, but yeah.
Hmm. Well, very interesting
Yeah.
documentary. Learned a lot. Um,
Yes. Learned a lot about Jayne Mansfield, learned a lot about
sure
Mariska
did.
Hargitay, learned a lot about
Sure
all these
did.
people. And it's
Yes.
really fascinating. And I think the other thing too is what I find so interesting is you see these old movies that are, coming out and you're like, God, it's interesting. Like at some point, 50 years from now, when we're dead, people are going to be watching like The Breakfast Club. Do you know what I mean? And the movies that we grew up on and
Mhm.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and people are going to be like, what? What movie is Ferris Bueller's Day Off? Who are these people? What actor is that? Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Right.
there's only so many Casablancas and Affair to Remember. Like there are these pivotal movies and movie stars that will transcend time, but in
Mhm.
between all of that are just a bunch of other people, bunch of
Yeah.
other actors and things that seem so big in the moment, but like because you watch all those movies, I'm like, I don't know where that actor is. I don't know who that person is. I don't know who that person is. I've never heard this movie.
Oh yeah. I don't watch hardly I mean, I don't really watch old movies. Like anything in black and white, I'm like, no thanks. Like I've never seen Casablanca.
Oh, you haven't? Okay.
The Wizard of Oz is probably the closest I get to an old time movie. Like I don't know. It's hard to connect. It just seems
Not even have you seen Citizen
so
Kane?
long ago. No?
Mm. Well, I was a film major, so
Yes.
we
Well,
had to study those
yeah.
films.
You had to
So,
watch all these films. Me, if I had a choice between Citizen Kane and The Breakfast Club, I'm gonna watch The Breakfast Club.
okay. But anyway, that's what always when I watch these shows, I'm always like, what's life going to be like, a million years from now? People are going to be seeing because maybe there'll be a documentary about J-Lo and about J-Lo's many loves because there are some, I could see 30, 40 years from now. There was a woman, Jennifer Lopez,
Yeah.
and but she married and divorced a lot. And let me
She
tell you
was
the
in
tale of her,
Yeah, she
right?
was in love
Because
with love.
she was in love with love and but that would be a good story. Like there are some people that are here today that I don't think we will know 50, 60
Mhm.
years from now, but I think that someone like JLo is kind of a Jane Mansfield in her own way.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we'll
anywho.
see. We'll see if our planet is still here, or what
Oh
what
God.
the status
Well,
is.
you're down, you're low, low. The world's falling apart. Yes, it's
Okay,
true.
everyone. Well, thank you for joining us.
Yes.
If you want to support the podcast, we would appreciate it if you would subscribe and also leave us a 5-star review. That helps get the word out about our podcast. And if you want more of us, we have a Patreon and we do a weekly bonus episode. We give you all of these episodes ad free, and we have can't speak. Have some other bonus material for our higher tier. And also, you can find us on YouTube if you would please subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Hi, everybody.
And we're on all the social media platforms, mostly. You know where to find us. Cyclical Pop.
Yeah,
All right.
that's
Thanks.
it. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.